Meeple Nation Podcast, episode 550. Meeple Nation September 2024 news.
Welcome, citizens, to Meeple Nation. Grab your favorite beverage, pull up a chair, warm up those dice, and join us at the game table as we discuss board games and the board gaming world. Each week, the hosts of Meeple Nation share their love for board games and the amazing memories that come from playing games with some very outstanding people. Let us now join our hosts in their natural habitat, the game table.
The Meeple Nation podcast is sponsored by Game Toppers LLC. Please go and check them out at GameToppersLLC.com. We talk about their tables all the time. We love them. We play on them. Military grade aluminum, fantastic mats. Actually, industry leading mats in my opinion. 3 millimeters thick with that amazing stitched edge, incredible art. They've got a plethora of accessories to go with everything they've got. So if you are looking for a topper or a full table solution or something portable or anything in between, go check them out. GameToppersLLC.com.
We are the hosts of Meeple Nation. I'm Nathan Howard.
And I am Douglas Stewart.
We are missing Andy. It is the...
It's the big week.
It is the big week. I was trying to think of I was going to call it the Eve week, but that didn't sound right. So it is the big week.
It's the big week.
Andy has a wedding on Saturday. His first child getting married off.
Yep.
Amara's getting married. And
it's a big deal.
Yeah, it is a big deal.
Yep. I've been buying rice and getting my suit all ready to go.
Yeah, I had to cook all my rice first, so just to make sure that I didn't poke anybody's eye out.
You throw it cooked? That's new. It seems like a little harder to clean.
Does it?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't want to hurt anybody.
Okay. Yeah. Just throw softer, Nathan.
Just throw softer. You don't have to try to take Matthew out.
You don't have to wind up. Well, if you're throwing it at Matthews, you can wind up a little.
Yeah, all right. Sounds good. But no, I'm not cooking my rice.
Okay. I'm not standing anywhere by you then. Yeah, that's awesome. He was planning on being here tonight. We could have an Andy sighting.
Possible Andy sighting.
A possible Andy sighting. We don't want to get everyone's hopes up too high, but there's possible Andy sighting tonight. We'll see how the evening goes.
Yeah, we'll see. We have a website, meeplenation.com. Go over there and check out all the goodness Meeple Nation stuff that is there. Past episodes, bios, and we also have a link to our Patreon page. Our patrons make the podcast continue to happen, and we are so very grateful for their contributions. We appreciate those. If you too would love to be a patron, that link will take you right to our Patreon page. Any sort of support you feel comfortable with, we will always thank you, and if we see you in person, give you a crisp high five.
They are crisp too.
Yes.
Nathan does give them nice and crisp.
So I want to make it memorable.
We really do appreciate our patron supporters. Also, we love to hear from you, so send us a line at meeplenation@gmail.com. If you feel so inclined, we would love to take a question or hear your thoughts or just whatever hot gossip you've got to share with us.
We're all about games.
Yeah, we're all about it for sure. Well, Nathan, it's Highlight 30.
It is.
Favorite time of the evening. Gotta love it. I'm seeing you have a game that I'm not aware of.
Yeah.
Because it seems like you've got more of a story.
I do have more of a story. I was kind of hoping Andy was going to be here for this. As Andy is prepping for stuff and he had additional stress, had the need to clear out some trees out of his property. So I was able to help him out on a Saturday, jumped over to his house, and for what I thought was going to be a few hours, turned out to be 15 hours, and we didn't finish.
You played an epic scenario version of Service Project.
Yes, an epic service project. It was good times. He had a bunch of trees that needed to be cleaned off from around his property, in particular around his house. He had some trees that were overgrowing his house, chopping all these trees down. It was good times up until the second to last tree.
I know the story.
You know the story?
You definitely need to tell it, yeah.
So we got these big pole chainsaws, and I'm cutting a branch, and I'm standing at the top of this ladder. So I'm a good 15 feet in the air, cutting this branch, slowly starting to come down, and I'm trying to control the fall. And so I make the announcement, everybody look out. So everybody turns, and then this tree says, I've had enough of you, and comes right towards me. It knocks me right off this ladder. So I'm good 15 feet in the air. Knocks me clean off the ladder, and there was a tree that was right behind me that I went to grab, but unfortunately I had pruned that tree already. So what I was grabbing for was not there anymore.
Was air instead of
It was
branch?
air, yes, exactly. And so this fall took place in all of like 3 seconds, but it sure felt like a long time. Since I was already turned, it's not a stump. I don't know what you call where you've lopped off part of the branch, but there's still a stub there.
Yeah.
But anyways, that stub was there, and I was able to catch it, like put it in a headlock. It took me from 15 feet to about 10 feet, and so I had this branch stub in a headlock. Woohoo! I'm saved. Now all I have to do is wait for somebody to stand up the ladder and then just let me down gently. However, in that time frame, all of a sudden I noticed that my feet went flying above my head, and my headlock grip was no longer suitable for holding it from the upside down position.
Physics is fun.
It is.
It really is.
And so I came tumbling down out of that tree another good 10 feet before I hit the ground. Fortunately, there was some nice lush flowers there that aren't so lush anymore. But I fell, and I quickly was able to get up and run out of the way because I was scared that the branch was still going to come tumbling on top of me. Yeah, so I got some nice bruising on the arm and the side, but came out for the most part unscathed. It looks like I lost the cat fight.
Right arm is it's got some bruises and scratches.
But it was good times. It was for a good project, and the only casualty was I totally did rip down Andy's rain gutter. But which is kind of why he's not here tonight. He said he was fixing that.
Fixing the rain gutter.
So I guess it's my fault that Andy's not here.
So in your app, are you just logging that as a game of a play of the game of life?
Yeah, and I lost.
And you lost.
Yeah.
You lost. Okay.
Yeah. Put that as the game one.
Okay. That's fantastic. That night, I was actually surprised because you guys had been working all day, but Andy still hosted a game night that evening.
I was surprised that he did.
Yeah, I was surprised. After the fact, I was surprised because, he usually hosts. I wasn't really thinking much about it. But after I found out you guys had been working all day, I was like, holy smoke. How are you not just like crashing in bed? Played a couple rounds of Chemical Overload, which I thought was a really, really fun, it's kind of a deck builder.
Yeah, I was really anxious to play this.
Yeah, an awesome components. Like it has metal coins, really nice cards and sleeves. I was really impressed with the production value, neoprene mats and everything else. We were looking at the Kickstarter page for this game, and it barely funded with like 500 backers.
Which I was really surprised.
And my mind was just like, are you kidding? Because it was a really great game. Like I had a really, really awesome time playing Chemical Overload. Super glad we got to play that a couple rounds, and I hope that one comes back to crowdfunding because it's one that I think more people need to check out.
Absolutely.
Also, we have an Andy sighting. He's
Andy
here.
has arrived. I'm sorry about your rain gutter.
You did me a favor.
Did I?
Yep.
Yeah, we just got through actually telling that was my highlight.
That was Nathan's
highlight.
Yeah, that was his highlight. Was
my Andy service project.
No, it was coming off, and it just opened things up so I could reinforce the whole thing. So no, it was actually a good thing that it got torn off so I could throw some extra pressure treated wood in there and really bolt the thing down. So yeah,
good.
We got her done.
Yeah, I probably should have been over there to help with that too, since
I just didn't want you falling out of the ladders into trees anymore. So
sometimes Mother Nature strikes back.
Next time Andy does a tree project, he's going to be like, everyone can come help except Nathan.
Except for Nathan.
Oh, Nathan was an animal. He cut down a lot of limbs more than anybody else.
Yeah,
easily.
I can imagine it. Nathan's a beast.
Yeah, we went from. I was there at 8:30. And we went till he was hosting games at 6?
7.
It ended up being 7, yeah.
Yeah, and I think I went home it was 6:30, I think.
Yeah, it was a little after 6:30, yeah.
Went home, showered, and made myself presentable and came back.
You were tired.
I was a little tired.
You were beat.
It was catching up.
Both of you were pretty beat.
Yeah. In the morning, I was really reluctant to get out of bed.
Yeah. Well, we played a couple rounds of Chemical Overload. You got there in time to play the second game with us, and then we had Legend of Sleepy Hollow set up on the other.
Legends of Sleepy Hollow, yeah, because the main characters are the legends.
Yeah. So we had that set up on one of the other tables. So we were like, well, let's go play a round of that. And we went over and played a game. And then you two were like, oh, I guess we'll play another one. And I like at that point, I was just like, how are you guys still standing? I don't know what's happening. But I will say about halfway through that second mission, you both started to fade like mad. Yeah, it was crazy. And Nathan's reading of the dialogue was getting weird.
Yeah,
like just weirder and weirder. It was something to behold for sure.
All my accents seem to always end up to a really bad Cajun French accent.
Yeah. Well,
Yes,
it started as one thing. There was a little Irish moment in there, and then it went French, and then it just went full on foghorn leghorn.
Yeah, it did. I forgot that. But I really enjoy the opportunity in games like that where there's the campaigns where we can be more involved. We had a ton of fun with Descent.
Yeah.
And
Reading the narrative and doing the voices and stuff. It's a little cheesy for table full of grown men to do, but man, it's fun. It is so much fun.
That would make for a good episode, maybe, that we're record a session of something.
Record a session of us just reading parts. Yeah, I don't know if people would listen to us.
Yeah,
at all.
probably
They'd be
not.
like, like, those guys are weird.
Ate a little paint chips as you were a kid. Huh?
Yeah.
Why?
But
Why?
but I did think so. Legends of Sleepy Hollow, though,
Was excellent.
really good game.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it quite a bit. Overall, the production on it and everything's really good. I was really excited when we first started playing the game because all of the minis have like a little dial built into the bottom of them that spins to track health and everything, which I just thought, that's genius. That's
It
so
is.
awesome.
Until it doesn't work.
Until they all kind of were falling apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I was like, not so great. Now I just kind of want like little hit point
Yeah,
like
use a D20
tickets or something. Yeah, or D20. I was like, okay, I might be over this. And actually, like the way the damage and stuff works on it, it's not hard to just kind of track. Even like in your head, it's not too bad. So
yeah. The campaign only has 10 scenarios, and we're 4 scenarios into it now,
yeah,
Unless you have the expansion,
which we do,
which we do now.
because after our first play,
Nathan
we
was like, I want
decided-
more.
yeah, that's good. And I can't remember who it was that said that there was...
It was me that
was
told
it?
you. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm like, all right, we're on it, and found it on Amazon and had it delivered the next day.
Shouldn't have been surprised when we showed up 3 days later at your house, and there it was,
There it
sitting
was.
on the table.
Here, Andy, take this home with you.
I'm like, hey, I just told you about this. You already have it? Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
But a surprisingly fun game. Not really deep. However, I do feel like the character progression
It's fun.
the legends, right? The
Yeah.
players you care. There's some good depth there with like the skills and the level ups and gear. That's really fun. Not a lot of complexity with the stuff that's actually taking place out on the map. Fairly basic in terms of that. But I don't know that it really needs to be anything more than it is. It strikes a good balance. The missions don't take very long. Each one's been 45 minutes, roughly, give or take?
The first one we played was maybe 25.
Kind of an introductory one. I think the other 3 have been right around that 45-minute mark. And the one I thought for sure we had lost, the last one we played, I thought for sure we had lost since you had your crazy AoE.
Yep.
Or both you guys had.
Andy did, yeah.
Was able to save our bacon.
Yep, it was good. That's been a lot of fun. Andy, those were our highlights. Did you have a highlight you wanted to share for the week?
Your highlight was my service project at my house.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Awesome.
Talked about falling out of the tree, and let's see, we talked about super stressed because you have a wedding in 6 days, 5 days.
5 days.
Yeah.
Yes. And it can't come soon enough, but I need more time.
Yep. Can't wait for it to be over, but sure don't want to have it happen yet either.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of a weird dilemma there.
It really is. Because of it being so busy, I haven't played as many games as I'd like, but we did manage to get Voidfall to the table.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
I really liked Voidfall.
Yeah. I'm really anxious to make sure that we play it a few more times.
We've got to play it again soon.
Yes.
Because the rule set on that is so heavy.
It is.
And we need to play it again so we solidify a lot of those rules.
I read that rule book twice. I watched the Paul Grogan How to Play It 3 times. And every time I got finished with that, I'm like, oh yeah, I got this. We got this. We can get started. And that first game was everybody's turn. It was nose in the rule book trying to figure out.
And I think a lot of that was iconography. Learning the iconography, once we have that down, I think a lot of I looked up the same stinking icon.
Yeah, you did.
Like 7 times. I don't know why.
I think it was more than that.
I don't know. I couldn't remember it, but it was the same one. I'm like, dang it. Why can't I remember what the heck this is?
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was just because in my brain, it just wasn't intuitive to what it actually did. Maybe I had a senior moment and I couldn't remember.
I think it was because there were 4 pages. The icon guide is 4 pages, and it's
just
so
the
much to
icons.
try to like hold in your brain that for the first little while.
That's true.
Once we got going, like halfway through that play of the game, it was like I was starting to interpret the icons well. Oh, this is intuitive. This does make sense. I can see what they're doing here, and kudos to them for doing, I think, a pretty good job with that. It's a fire hose kind of situation right out of the gate. Did we Chwazi or do something? I can't even remember to determine start player, and it was me. Okay, give me like 30 minutes. Understand what I can do. It has cards that have actions on them, so it's an action selection game at its heart. Pick one of these cards that has 3 actions on it, and you're going to do 2 of the actions on that card. Even understanding what the icons do on one card is challenging enough at first, let alone trying to decipher all the runes on 7 or 8 different cards, and then making a decision about which one to pick and what that means for what's happening out on the board. It was just a ton.
Yeah, you have 9 basic cards. In the first cycle, one of those cards you can't play, so it starts in your discard pile.
I love the asymmetrical powers of it.
Yeah.
Big surprise there. But I think that it makes it so when you, at least I found myself planning exactly which cards I was going to play. Each round, the card that gets flipped tells you how many rounds we're going to be playing.
For each cycle.
Each cycle. And I found myself, okay, I need to do this, and then I'm going to have to do this, and then this, and then this. And I'm trying to take advantage of activating my tech that I started with, and I'm activating my player powers as much as possible to give me that edge, on top of the fact that I'm trying to really accomplish what I need to on the board at the same time. Finding that balance between it was kind of fun. I mean, we played 2 of the 3 cycles, so we didn't finish the 3rd cycle. But I don't know how. I mean, obviously it was our first game, but I'm just scratching my head on how in the world does anybody take over just a ton of stuff on that map? Because it was not easy. So you go in to fight the Voidborn, just decimates all your forces that you're bringing in there, and it takes so much time to rebuild all that up. There are 2 cards that allow you to invade twice. You almost have to have it set up perfectly at the end of one round so you can invade twice in the next round. I think that would be quite difficult to actually get into the center of that board. We only had 4 turns in each cycle for the first 2 cycles, but that next one that flipped was 6. So maybe having more turns would make all the difference in that. I don't know.
Yeah. And caveat that this was our first game, so it was an easy. I picked an easier scenario, and each scenario dictates which houses can be used and which technologies are available. In some of the more aggressive episodes, the houses that we use can change that drastically.
Okay, nice to know.
In this scenario, casual, not high on the aggressive meter.
Right.
And so this was kind of a more of a casual game. And since it was our first game and we didn't go through the tutorial, which it suggests that you do, but I figured we're
big boys.
Yeah. But the game did kind of chew us up a little bit.
That first cycle,
the first cycle took 90 minutes.
Yeah. And I think we figured that it would. I mean, I don't think any of us were surprised that with the weight of that game that we figured that first play was going to be a lot of referencing the rule book and trying to figure everything out. The second cycle, I think, was pretty smooth.
It was
fairly
minutes.
smooth. Yeah. It went pretty quick.
So I think subsequent plays will go faster for sure. I don't think they'll be streamlined yet. It's going to take a couple of plays for that. By far, the first time that I've played a game that's this high, I think. I can't remember what Twilight Imperium is, but this Voidfall is 4.67, but it's definitely the first time I've explained a game this complex. And I relied on a video for a lot of that too, so I didn't miss anything. Worst thing I hate is when I'm explaining something and totally omit. And so the game can be played solo, cooperative, and competitive. And they really do a fair job with the rules, but I really dislike when it says, okay, if you're playing competitive, omit these cooperative pages. And so that rule book is
fractured or fragmented.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's all there, but it is fractured because you're trying to skip over things. And I think it would have been ideal if they just picked one, it's a competitive game.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if you're going to have a game that's a 4.67 on the difficulty scale, you need to have a quality enough rulebook to match that weight, if that makes sense. Those two things need to be on equal terms. It sounds like it was a good rulebook, but it doesn't sound like it was the rulebook that the game needed.
Yeah, it wasn't the best rule book. I mean, I don't have a ton of complaints about the rule book, other than it was kind of hard to follow along, and you'd start reading something, and it is all clearly marked of this, you're only going to read this if it's solo or cooperative or competitive, but still leads to the opportunity to miss stuff and to overlook stuff.
And this game has a lot to miss.
Yeah. And just even watching his gaming rules video where he and two other people are playing it for the first time, they're running into a lot of the same issues.
Yeah, referencing stuff.
And clarifying. And then they did the challenge of one person was remote.
Oh,
And
geez.
Oh, wow.
For
No
a game
thanks.
this big,
No way.
nobody has got time for that.
I'm
Get
out.
it. But
I think at the end of the day, with a game like this, that's bigger and heavier, 4X type game, I just look at it and I go, okay, is the cognitive load worth the fun that I'm going to get? Because in a lot of cases, it's not.
yeah,
The game's technically good and technically fun, but given the burden it places on you to play it, it's just not worth it.
Yep.
Right? And this was one that I felt like cleared that bar for me, even though it has a lot going on, and even though it will still take a game or two to really kind of nail down what this game has to offer, and I think make it more smooth. I still thought that the actual experience of playing the game and the fun that was worth the work that it took to play.
Yeah, I was very anxious to play it again. It didn't feel like, oh man, glad that's over. I mean, I did kind of have that feeling, but I was very anxious to play it again.
It's not like, okay, box it up and put it on the coal pile at all. I agree.
Yeah. But if we don't get it played enough, that's probably where it'll end up. I mean, if it's something that we haven't played it enough to get those rules digested properly,
Yep. Properly. Good job.
then its ultimate destination is the coal pile, much like Root or the other game that's like Root.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, you've seen pictures.
Yeah, that other game.
So complex that it just takes a whole day and a half to digest before you can teach it again every time you play it.
I know that you had put an equivalency on kind of like Root, where you have to teach everybody how their individual faction plays.
This wasn't as bad as Root. Yeah.
I didn't think it was even anywhere close to as bad as Root. I enjoyed this way more than I did Root. All of it I enjoyed more than Root. Root was okay. I mean, I had fun with it, but it felt more, maybe playing with the more aggressive houses may change my opinion on this, but it didn't feel like it was quite so in your face like Root was. I actually think I enjoyed that more because it wasn't so in your face and take that a choice to play Root or this. It would obviously be Voidfall, but even though it was late and I was exhausted when we did our play of it, I really, really, really wanted to play that last cycle. I'm like,
yeah, I did too. I was
dang it.
really reluctant. I mean, we quit at 11:30.
yeah.
And we all had to work in the morning. If somebody had committed to saying, yes, let's go for that last cycle, I would have totally been in. Somebody with wiser and better judgment than I never said, let's do that. So I didn't get the chance to say yes.
Especially when I saw that there were going to be 6 rounds. I'm like, oh, sweet. I'm actually going to possibly be able to do what I want to do. So,
yeah.
But we're not talking about Voidfall. Just
this
Voidfall
episode isn't Voidfall.
I was going to say, this is the news episode, fellas.
Yeah.
So let's get into the news.
Let's get into some news. New game releases, games that can be found out in the wild.
Yeah, what you got for us? I put a few on the list here, but Nathan, you found quite a few.
A lot of them that got me excited and interested. The Lord of the Rings Duel for Middle-earth out now.
Did you pick up a copy of that?
I did, yes. I think I actually have 2
awesome.
copies coming. So I can't remember who wanted one, but I have one up for grabs.
Okay, I think it was me. I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure it
Yeah.
was too. Very similar to Seven Wonders Duel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is literally a reskin of Seven Wonders Duel.
Yeah. Hopefully with enough theme in there that is going to make it different, that it's not just feeling like the same thing.
They've tweaked some stuff.
And Seven Wonders Duel is definitely different enough from Seven Wonders that it makes the game fun.
Yeah, Seven Wonders Duel is by far the better version of that game.
Yeah. And I do love that Seven Wonders, even at 7 players, does not lag down.
I agree.
Everybody's taking their
Yeah.
turns simultaneously. I do like the 2-player version of this, and which is kind of weird because usually, for the most part, I am shying away from 2-player games. But I find that if it's a 2-player game that I can play with my wife, It's a big deal. Oh, speaking of highlights, I was supposed to mention that. I've hit 1,000 games with my wife already this year. 1,000 plays.
Nice.
So 2-player games.
That's huge. I don't think I'm going to hit 1,000 plays total for the year period. So that's awesome. That's like just with Cheryl.
Yeah,
that's
just
awesome.
with Cheryl. Yep. So good times there for sure. But coming back to this, the Lord of the Rings duel for Middle Earth, I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be a good game.
Yeah, me too.
I'm looking forward to it very much.
Do you know what else might be a really fun game? King of Tokyo Duel.
I haven't seen this. Is this a thing?
We've mentioned this before. I know we've had this conversation, but I am telling you, just like everyone needed a roll and write version a few years ago, that's still kind of going on. Everyone wants a roll and write version of their game. The big thing now is everyone wants a dual version of the game. And I can't keep track of all the ones that we've already talked about, but there are seriously like dozens and dozens of the dual version of games coming out. In fact, when we get to new game announcements, there's a couple. Everyone's making a dual version of their game, including King of Tokyo.
I'm going to have to look at this, pick this up.
I like King of Tokyo. It's a little bit hard for me to imagine how the 2-player version would improve on that formula, because I do feel like having more people at the table is one of the big strengths of that game.
I agree.
And so I'll be curious to check that out. But it is available. It's out in the wild. You can go find it and make that decision for yourself.
Or you can just tell me about it and I'll make that decision right now.
It's in the cart and on its way. Just like that.
Just like that. Arm twist. Oh, you didn't even have to touch me.
No, there was no arm twisting even needed.
Because that arm's already sore. So, Andy, I don't know if this game was on Kickstarter or not, but this game has your name all over it.
Are you talking about Maladum?
I am talking about Maladum.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool.
It's a 1 to 6 player game based in the fantasy world. There's miniatures. You control your band of adventurers into the ancient dungeons of Everon. You must fight the hordes, search for valuables. This has your name all over it. And I'm just wondering how come you don't already own this one.
The map has 3D walls and terrain pieces. It actually looks really cool. I had never heard of it, actually. That's probably why I don't have it.
Yeah, I haven't actually heard of this one either. And
I was going to say they look better than Descent, but it looks very similar to Descent when I look at it. Almost feels like it's identical to Descent.
The characters kind of fit in this little board, and they've got little pegs that move across to track stats and things like that. But how many generic fantasy dungeon crawler games come out every single year? I bet most of them are pretty good. I think most of them clear the pretty good bar. And so which ones are the best? I think that's what's a little bit hard to know. You can't play them all. There's no way you could go and play all of them, so you kind of have to just...
accepted.
Yes, it worked. That's what I was going for.
It does only have 38 ratings, but it does have a 9.2. When does BGG... How many ratings does a game have to have before BGG starts to give it an average?
I don't know. I'm not sure how the algorithm is set up.
I would like to know that at some point.
1.
1? No, it's definitely not 1.
It's got an average of 9.7 with 1 vote.
Yeah.
Well, a game that I am fairly confident that is going to be really good, that is starting to hit shelves if you missed the Kickstarter for it, is Cthulhu Death May Die, Fear of the Unknown, as well as the Season 4 box and some of the other non-Kickstarter exclusive goodies, because it's a CMON game, so of course only some of it's available.
Yeah, of course.
I did back it all. Mine will show up on my doorstep soon. This is one of the things that really bothers me, though. I backed the game, and I still don't have all this stuff. And a lot of the non-Kickstarter exclusive stuff, you can already order
Drives me
from the stores.
Oh, that drives me batty.
And it's like, I'm not the kind of person who's going to lose it over that. There are people out there who lose their minds over that kind of thing, right?
Well, you need to take care of your people that funded your...
100%. I'm not going to lose sleep over it, but it ticks me off.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, come on, guys. Like, we backed this. We put our money up. We made it so you could make this game. We deserve to have it show up on our doorstep before we can go buy it at the store down the street.
Yep, for sure.
Well, you get around Essen, everybody is in a big push to get games over to Essen to be able to, or Gen Con, any of these big purchasing conventions. And I totally get it because it is a huge profit opportunity for it. Making money in the gaming industry is already a challenge enough. And so, like you, I also, I'm not going to lose sleep over it, but it is a little frustrating that does happen.
It is frustrating, but such a fun game.
Yeah.
And the Fear of the Unknown box is essentially season 3, and then the season 4 box, and then they have, like I said, some of the like non-Kickstarter bonus packs and monsters and stuff are coming out. So you can go order that right now. You can probably get it on your doorstep before I get mine. But when mine shows up, it's going to be better than yours. So take that.
So another excuse to play Cthulhu Death May Die. Dang it.
Dang it. Oh, bummer.
Oh, darn. I actually have the deans coming over tomorrow to play that. So I'm very excited.
Oh, I didn't get an invite. That sucks.
Do you want to come play it tomorrow, Andy?
Yeah, but I can't. I've got wedding stuff going on.
Wedding stuff.
I get that.
Just FYI, Maladrum was a Kickstarter.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's
Okay. I just missed it.
Yep.
Interesting. A couple others I'll throw out there real quick. As far as new stuff on the shelf, the Nightcrawler pack for Marvel Champions is out. That one's more exciting just for me because I wasn't actually super into X-Men, Professor X and Wolverine, Magneto, like some of the main players. It was like I was kind of, interested in that a little bit, but like there's a ton of the X-Men and I didn't know them like really well. I didn't read comics or watch shows or do anything like that. So
the X-Men was my number 2 comic.
And it was for a lot of people, right? Like I think X-Men's very good. And they did some good like animated shows and some of that back in the day. But it wasn't ever really my jam. It was more of a casual thing. But Nightcrawler was one of my favorites. I really like Nightcrawler.
Yeah, I always like Nightcrawler.
Yeah, me too.
Nightcrawler.
Yeah, so I'm excited. That one, I do have it. It did show up, so I just need to pop it open and play. His is actually a really cool. It takes advantage of his BAMF ability.
Oh, nice.
BAMF, and it's highly defensive. So the play of the deck seems like it's a lot of like BAMF in and take the damage, shake it off, do a little counter attack. It has that kind of play style to it, which intrigues me for Marvel Champions. So I'm kind of excited about that one.
I still need to play that.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you really do. I think you would like it quite a bit.
Yeah.
Also, Mass Effect, the board game.
Yeah.
Mass Effect was, I could spend a lot of time talking about the importance that Mass Effect has had on me as a person, especially Mass Effect 2 is just phenomenal. One like all-time favorite video games. I will not go down that rabbit hole, but Mass Effect, the board game, Project Hagalaz, which, why pick such a hard to pronounce place for your board game? Like just make it something normal people can say. I'm really looking forward to it, and it's out. It should be on its way soon, and I can't wait to check that out. So if that's something you are interested in, it is out in the wild.
I am interested in it, Doug.
Okay, excellent. We'll play it.
Okay.
We all like deck builders.
Yes.
We haven't played a ton of cooperative deck builders, but there's a new one called Ecosphere, which is a cooperative deck building game. You're trying to restore nature before it's too late. So you have to manage water, time, earth, air, and sun. These are the elements that you will use. This kind of looks interesting. It's 1 to 4 players, 40 to 80 minutes. Pretty light game. We always like deck builders. For that reason alone, it's hit my radar. We'll see if it hits the cart anytime soon. But Ecosphere has a nice look. It's a
nature themed kind of thing.
Very much a nature
Yeah.
theme.
Yeah.
And there seems to be a lot of those recently. Not saying that's a bad thing by any means, but it's been a theme that has been latched onto. So another one. Curious enough to look into it. We'll see if it makes it into the cart. That is Ecosphere.
This is one I probably wouldn't ever have looked into seriously.
But I'll enjoy it when it shows up here at Nathan's
yeah.
house and he teaches it to us.
Yeah.
Yes, and you'll enjoy it.
I will, huh?
You will.
I will enjoy it. You can't see, but Nathan was over there doing the little Jedi hand motion. You will enjoy this game.
I can only think of one that completely flopped at the table, Nathan.
Oh, which one was that?
That was the one with all the photos.
Oh, yeah.
Keepers.
Keepers.
Blah.
And I really wanted that game to go well.
It was so
It
bad.
was so bad.
It
It was not a good game. Oh, I honestly, I thought you were going to say Seafall. I was like,
Dang
oh,
it.
come on.
Opportunity missed.
Yeah, you missed that. You talked about 2-player games, Doug. Kinfire Delve, the Kalos Lab. This is a cooperative dungeon diving card game set in Kinfire Chronicles universe, which I'm not familiar with. Are either of you familiar with that?
Yeah, the Deans, who I previously mentioned, they're coming over and we're gonna play some games. They moved, so this is behind the scenes stuff that nobody really cares about, but it's harder to get together with them. So it's kind of a noteworthy thing for me. They're coming over, and that's something I want to ask them about because they have been making their way through that Kinfire Chronicles game, and they said it's really good. I think they were even talking about sort of maybe even replace Gloomhaven for them in some ways. Like they really liked it. So I'll get some more information on that because that's one that I'm kind of interested in.
Yeah, so this is a tactical cooperative game for 1 to 2 players where you fight your way through the well deck of challenge cards and reach Kalos, the master of the well, and face him in a final epic battle. The artwork is really good. I really like the box cover.
Is he wearing an apron?
That's what I was just trying to figure out a word to. It was like
an apron.
Some dungeon delvers who came in and he's like, "Oh, you're just in time to be dinner."
I think it's supposed to give off like kind of a mad scientist vibe, but
Maybe.
To me it just gives that like, hey, welcome to Thanksgiving dinner, folks.
Yeah, climb on in the oven. It does have enough interest that I'm excited to play it, and it has that time frame that is doable especially for a 2-player game, 45 to 60 minutes. Sometimes when somebody's staying late or gets here early, this is a nice little option to get to the table. Mix it in with my Star Wars deck building games. I think this is one that's going to be worth my time for sure. So that's one I'll probably be picking up. And that's Kinfire Delve, Kalos's Lab.
Awesome. Do you have any more new releases you wanted to talk about, or should we talk about new announcements?
Actually, you know what? I do have some these Witness games. Witness on the Trail of the Chameleon, Witness on the Trail of Othesis, and Witness the Sigma Club. So these all re-implement the Witness game. You read through the scenario, kind of like a choose your own adventure style game. These are short, 10 to 20, 30 minutes. There's 3 of them. I'm really kind of interested to at least try one of these, see how they go. The narrative through the Witness game was fun, involved, gave good feels for the game anyways, where it made me really enjoy my experience playing it. It's not a game that we played a ton of times, but each of these there's 8 individual cases in the box telling different sides of the story and different angles, and these are very intriguing to me.
Yeah, that actually sounds pretty interesting. Definitely check that out.
And to have 8 scenarios in there and to go through those.
This isn't like an escape room.
No.
Okay.
It is just more of a narrative. I mean, there's going to be a lot of reading, and there's going to be a lot of, at least in Witness, there was a lot of reading, and not really taking turns on the board or anything like that. You're making decisions, you're reading, you're finding out where your decisions lead you in the case. And so...
Interesting. Yeah, that could actually be really fun.
I'm willing to pick up one of these for sure, and maybe pick up all 3 just in case they're good, and we'll have them.
Why wouldn't you? Do they have recharge packs? Deluxe components?
Maybe.
Just get it all, Nathan.
Just might as well get
Don't
it
hold
all.
back.
No, they do not have recharge or deluxe components.
That is awesome.
So this does have a deduction element in it. And
yes.
It has, communication limits. So it sounds like you're trying to work together. I like games like this, a cooperative game where you're a board and you're trying to do stuff together, where it's more narrative driven, having that communication limit to add a layer of difficulty. So you're not just, okay, let's just sit down and tell a story. I think that's kind of a must.
Yeah.
And
they're only $20 each, so they're not bad.
Yeah. And in the fact that playtime's quite nice too. I mean, you're 10 to 25 minutes. Shoot, if you just played that in one night, you could get bust through all 8 in one night, really.
You could.
If you're having fun.
Yeah, if you're having fun.
That's a big if.
Oh, it's not a big if.
Well, I'm just saying it's a very determined if, right? Like, if.
If the burnout, if you don't get burned out.
Yeah.
I mean, any game, if you're playing it multiple times, and it may get to be a little monotonous, sometimes breaking it up breaks up the vanilla flavor a little bit. Add a little sprinkles in there. Put some chocolate in there. Break up the vanilla a little bit.
I totally agree. I agree.
As far as new releases, those are some of the highlights that I wanted to get to. I have others that are on my list that...
we just can't cover them all.
Yeah.
There's a million games. Well, not a million, but,
there's a lot
coming out every day.
Sure feels like a million.
Yeah.
Thousands a year. thousands every year.
Yes.
You just can't get to all of them. Well, I'm excited about some of these new game announcements. You've got some fun ones on your list. I added a few that I thought were interesting. I'll start us off with another one of our dual games. Guess what's getting into the dual treatment?
What's that?
Azul.
Oh,
so
amazing.
amazing.
Yeah, I've heard this.
Azul
Yeah.
Duel.
Azul is a great at 2 players as it is. So
A lot of people say that's the best way to play it. The two-player version. So yeah.
I'm excited to see how this Azul Duel, and plus that's just fun to say.
That was my big thing. Was just like they kind of nailed it, right?
Yeah.
Of all the games to get a dual version, Azul was the one that won.
Yeah.
They won on that one.
Wow.
Makes the most sense.
I'm going to buy it just so I can say it. Hey, let's play Azul Duel.
You know what?
There you go.
You don't even have to buy it to say it.
But you can't say let's play Azul Duel if you don't have it.
You can because Nathan will have it.
Oh, that's a
Shut
good
up,
point.
Doug.
You know what? You bring up a good point, Doug. Hey, let's go to Nathan's house. Let's play Azul Duel.
Yeah.
Wait, does
Hey,
Nathan
Nathan.
have that?
Hey, Nathan.
Yeah.
Bring Azul
Yeah.
Duel. Bring Azul Duel.
Bring Azul Duel. I happen to have it in my car, along with 30 other games.
I never go anywhere without my Azul Duel. Oh, that's so good. Like, I am kind of intrigued. I will go back to Seven Wonders for just a moment. Seven Wonders is a decent game. Not my favorite at all. But the Seven Wonders Duel, I mean, the formula for that is so wildly different from the base game. And I think so incredibly fun. And if these games, if they're changing the formula enough that it becomes a really, I think, intriguing and enjoyable experience, then I think there's some magic to be had there.
For sure.
Where everybody's pushing for these, what I'm worried is that a lot of them are just going to be just the 2-player version of the game. And there's not going to be a lot of thought that gets put into it.
Yeah, or samey, right? You get the same implementation of someone else's dual game with a different skin.
Yeah.
You know, I think that there's the danger of both of those happening.
100%.
Yeah, and I agree. I hope that they as they're doing all this, that they implement them well, which I look at a lot of the roll and writes, and I think many of those are very different, and they've implemented those in such a great way that still stay true to the
Theme of the original.
Yeah, to the original IP, but it's different enough that it feels like its own game, and you scratch that itch if you enjoy that particular IP. I think of Twilight Inscription.
That's above and beyond. I mean, that still keeps the Twilight Imperium feel,
right?
But has the complexity and is an amazing roll and write game, which we need to play again.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, I would love to play that one again. So many good games.
Yes. So what else do we got on this list? Sorry, I'm adding games to my cart.
All right, so Nathan, while you shop, I'll talk about a couple others. Fantasy Realms is getting this looks like a little bit more. Yeah, it's a standalone, and it looks like it's a little more than just a reskin. I don't think this is like a 1-to-1. You know, hey, we just changed the art and the icons a little bit. This looks like they're doing some different things with it. They've tweaked the formula.
Version
but this is
2.
Yeah. Fantasy Realms Greek Legends is what this is called.
Oh, nice.
Familiar gameplay, and I think a lot of it's going to be very familiar. If you played Fantasy Realms, I don't think you're really even going to need much by way of a rules explanation on it at all. But it does seem like they've changed it up enough that it's got some different ways that the cards interact. So that's exciting to me.
Yeah, I was really excited about that one. Not due out till 2025.
But I mean, that's what we're talking about, though, right? They're just games that are announced, and who knows when they'll come out. Just new stuff that is coming at some point.
So speaking of coming out in 2025, Andy, another game to put on your radar, because I know you're going to eat this one right up, is Dungeons & Dragons Builders of Baldur's Gate.
That does sound very cool.
And so this is due out in 2025. It's 2 to 5 player game, plays in about 90 minutes. This doesn't have a ton of information, a ton of artwork available on it yet, but this is a city building game, a silly.
It doesn't look very silly.
It is silly.
Come on, Nate.
It's because you have to build the silly.
Oh, build the silly city.
Yeah, it is a city building game.
A silly city building game.
Silly city, and a silly city, iconic city building game.
Holy cow.
To grow your prestige in the city. So you're one of the factions of the city, and you're trying to build up your reputation and make your mark in the city, building your buildings, and your buildings are going to give you influence and give you control. It has your name all over it, and I'm totally going to be playing it with you.
Okay. Sounds good.
Wow. Can I play?
You certainly can.
Maybe.
Absolutely.
I like silly city building games.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah.
I guess you're in.
I'm actually a little surprised we haven't seen more quote unquote Baldur's Gate
I am
stuff.
too.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Baldur's Gate, I mean, that's been around for Baldur's Gate's an important part of D&D lore,
It is.
right?
Yep.
But especially with the success of the video game recently, I'm surprised we're not seeing more Baldur's Gate-ish things.
This is just the
coming out.
beginning, Doug.
Is this the tip of the iceberg?
Yep.
Okay. I'm okay then. That's fine.
Well, hopefully we're not in the Titanic.
Oh, let's hope not. Speaking of sinking,
Wow.
Okay.
Endeavor Deep Sea.
This is one you backed, isn't it?
I backed this, and I have received my copy of this.
Yeah. Everybody else can be finding it in the wild soon, but
Probably next year sometime. But this is one of those that they actually gave the game to the backers way before you can actually buy it in retail. Thanks, guys.
Doing
And
it right.
I have got it unboxed and all put together, and that's as far as I've gotten. And I've been doing so good at getting all my Kickstarters read and ready to play. It got kind of pushed to the side so that we could play Legends of Sleepy Hollow, so I could get those rules refreshed. Anyway.
Which I'm glad you did, because I very much enjoy that game.
But it looks great. I think it looks fun. Out there doing research. Scientists doing research, and you are trying to preserve the fragile balance of the marine life. So it seems like a kind of a cushy, feel-good type of game where you're scientists trying to do right and trying to preserve things and investigate the different wildlife, all in the mission to preserve the ocean and to preserve wildlife. And I think that's awesome. So I'm excited for it. I need to read it, and I can't commit to when I'm going to have it ready until
You got to get a wedding out of the way
things
first,
settle
brother.
down. Yep. But it will be soon.
Sounds
Awesome.
like just a bunch of
Yeah, that's
whining from you.
Maybe it is, but I feel justified. And maybe if they have this at BGG, maybe I'll read it and have it ready for at BGG.
That would be good times.
Ooh, that'd be awesome.
So
That's coming just around the corner,
it
guys.
is.
It is.
We're less than a month away
I'm so excited.
from BGG
Yeah, that's so good.
And-
Nice.
and Phoenix.
And Phoenix.
You guys aren't invited to that one though.
Oh, that's right. You
going to a
and
ball game.
Caden are going to
Caden.
the football
Yeah.
game.
That'd
Going to
be
the
fun.
football game.
Very cool. Nathan, you have talked about in the past how you were collecting the unmatched stuff and then you kind of culled it all.
Yep.
And one of the reasons that you culled it all was because Bruce Lee wasn't available and you couldn't have it all.
Yeah.
I mean, it was available for like $300 or something like that. So they had a Bruce Lee pack, right?
Yeah.
So did you see the announcement?
Yeah.
So they're reboxing it with Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, I did see that.
So here's my question though.
Yes, it's all in his cart. All of it.
Everything
Again.
everything has
again.
been reordered. He's got it all coming again. So here's my question though. If you already own Bruce Lee, will they have just a Muhammad Ali pack? Which they should, and they
should.
better. Because I will not buy this product unless they separate it out. I don't need 2 copies of Bruce Lee. And I feel like stuff like this is a little bit of a slap in the face to people who have already bought something and then they want the new thing, but it's been repackaged with the old thing.
Yeah.
This isn't a trick that publishers play very often, but every now and then they do. And it's, in my opinion, a little skeevy.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And
Because I would love to get that Muhammad Ali pack, but I don't need to rebuy Bruce Lee for it.
you're totally right. But there's so many people out there that will be buying it. And no,
I'm not one of them.
I am not reinvesting in Unmatched.
You don't need to.
No,
Yeah.
you have enough of it that I don't need to hit it again. And but no, Unmatched is a great game.
Yeah, it's
and
really
the
good.
TMNT looks really good. I'm pretty excited that you're backing that. Hopefully, you're backing that.
What did I just say about backing off Kickstarters?
Well, backing off and not backing at all.
That's true. I did back it. You guys. But if you knew all the things I didn't back, okay?
If you
If you knew
Yeah,
all the
try to
times
explain that
that
to
I
my wife
wanted
all
to
the
go and look at
time.
Kickstarter and I didn't, okay?
You know, I'm so proud of you, Doug. I'm seeing so much growth in you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. That's all I needed to hear. It's mostly sideways growth. But.
yeah, it's, and on my shelf of shame growth.
So, Nathan, we've got Halloween 2 coming out.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Halloween.
Yeah, which surprised me that you picked this up. I know we talked about it a while ago on one of our episodes that it was coming out, and you seemed, oh, that actually sounds pretty good. I'm not a fan of the movie, but that sounds awesome. And it turned out to be pretty stinking fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And the episode you're talking about happens in the future. So,
No. This was like, I talked about this like a year ago.
oh, okay. Well, I talked about Halloween 2.
No, Halloween 1 I'm talking about. Halloween 1, I talked about like a year ago in a news episode. And of course, it ended up in your cart.
It's weird.
I know, that never happens.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop looking up stuff that I think is newsworthy and just start talking about things I want Nathan to buy for the group.
It's not very nice, you guys.
You're pretty nice.
Yes. Yes, I am.
I think it's great. And I just love you, Nathan. I think you're wonderful. Buy more games.
But
More games.
So this is going to follow Halloween 2, the movie Halloween 2.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how, what they do differently, how it plays differently. In Halloween 1, you're trying to find the keys, you're to the different houses and trying to find the kids and get the keys and get out, right? And you only have to have one survivor actually survive and get away in order to win the game. So I'm actually kind of intrigued to see, and I'm hope that it's going to be, number one, true to the movie, for those of you who are Halloween 2 fans and Halloween fans, but also make it different than the first game, so that it's fresh and it makes you so you may want to go back to the first one because it plays differently than the second one after you've played it. Hey, that was awesome. Let's go back to the first one and play Halloween again, just to get just to experience that game because it's so different. And I hope they do that. I mean, I know that horror movies, a lot of them are the same.
Yep.
So hopefully it's not quite so much the same for the board game.
Right.
Yeah. And, we've talked about this, and I did really enjoy Halloween. I think that it was, for what it was. I mean, this is a simple little game. But
it is.
But for what it was, I thought that it was very good. I will say, and I know I've mentioned this before, I don't mean to sound like a broken record, the big missed opportunity with Halloween was just that there wasn't at least like a backside to that board. With one more like mission to play, or something that scrambles up the scenario or offers something different, because the experience is the same every single time. You are trying to do the same thing every time you play that game.
That's true.
And I get it, because that's a little hard. Like, you might have to break away from the source material a little bit to make it more replayable. But when it comes to a board game, kind of need to make it a little more replayable. That's the lesson I'm hoping they take into Halloween 2. They stay true to the movie and do a good job just like they did with the first one. However, do some things that switch it up just a little bit so players can experience something different. It's not the exact same experience every time you play it.
Well, I think they could even have done it to where, there's a backside of the board that maybe increases the difficulty for one side's maybe a little easier for Michael Myers and one side's a little easier for the survivors, right? Sure. They totally could have done something like that, or added a couple of boards in there to maybe the map or whatever. But yeah, I agree. That would have been nice to keep just in that game itself, to have some more replayability.
So there's a Texas Chainsaw by Trick or Treat Games, same group. We haven't played that one yet. I've read the rules.
Oh, you have? And
we haven't. I think it's gonna be different. It's trying to still master the theme of the movies. I say, since I've never seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I have not seen that one either.
But there's also a sequel to Texas Chainsaw Massacre game coming out too for the next movie. We have to get the first one played before I consider backing the second one, but
so we need to fight Leatherface.
Yeah, the whole Slaughter family.
Awesome.
I know that now because I've read the rules.
Good job. Yeah. Well, let's play it. Hey, it's October. We got to play it.
Yeah, October's quickly fading away.
I know.
We need to get it to the table for sure. Sorry, I'm still adding games. So I've been hearing a lot of hype or a lot of excitement for this stamp swap. Have either of you heard about this?
No.
This is from the designer of Honey Buzz and Genotype. Genotype I haven't played. Honey Buzz I have over there. Still haven't played it. But this is a game all about collecting stamps and swapping them to get your stamp collection complete. Accumulate as many high quality stamps, including the rare gold foil stamps. Is 20 to 60 minutes, 1 to 5 players, which I don't know how you have swap stamps with a 1-player game, but maybe it works. 7.3 on the rating with 252 voters, not the 38 that whatever that other game was.
Oh, that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know the one.
Okay. Yeah.
You were there.
I saw the picture.
Yeah. And it happened.
Okay. Wow. Such specifics.
Yes. This stamp swap looks a little interesting. Not sure if it's going to make it to my cart. It might get swapped out for something else.
Wow. That's how you did there.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Wow. Yeah.
I'll stick that one right on there.
You don't have to swap it out. You could just buy it.
Yeah. Probably not. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
You're going to buy it.
Maybe.
I can see the look in your eyes. Another game that might be rather popular. We should edit that out. That was really awful. Wicked, the board game. I've never really been into Wizard of Oz, and I've never seen the play, but I know this is going to be a title some people are interested in.
Theatrical release of it looks pretty exciting, but I don't know. Wicked is. I know a lot of people really enjoy Wicked, and I have not seen, heard, or am that familiar with Wicked. And I enjoy a lot of plays and a lot of musicals. So
it does seem like it's going to be a slightly lighter weight game. Actually, this is going to be on shelves pretty soon. Like they've kind of made the announcement and then it leading up to release pretty close together. Might even by the time this episode drops, be able to start pre-ordering or finding copies of it out there. There's really not much on it. No reviews or anything. It just says, help Elphaba and Glinda defy gravity. I see what they did there. And best his royal Ozness. So there you go.
Yeah, I think they're probably trying to put this right on the wheels of the
movie release, right?
The movie release, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of love out there for Wicked. I'd like to give it some, but I'm not familiar with it yet.
So there you go.
All right. What else do we have on here? Planet Unknown Supermoon expansion should be available shortly. I mean, very soon. Hopefully before the end of this year.
Seems like Reiner Knizia has a new game coming out
All the time. Yeah, and Rebirth Kickstarter should be fulfilling real soon. That is one that I did back, and so I'm still waiting for my Kickstarter to show up of that. But yeah, that should be hitting pre-orders places pretty soon. Another one that is kind of I'm not sure what it is that really excites me about this game, but it for some reason it stuck out for me. And this is Altair, the Dawn of Civilization. Endless years in a secluded region deep in the heart of the vast continent, 4 mysterious people have been developing different cultures, merging magic and technology in a delicate balance with nature and among themselves. The line intrigued me, and it's a deck building game, again, which is always fun. It has some civilization development, some area expansion. Doesn't necessarily say area control, but the next line says players control one of 4 factions. It's 45 to 90 minutes, not that bad of time at all. It does have some area majority influence, all sorts of goodness in there that I think is in a time frame that is manageable to give a try for sure. And that's just Altair, Dawn of Civilization.
Fascinating. Well, it'll be another fun one to try when you pick it up and play it, and we get it here at your game table.
You know what? It's only a 2-player game, or no, it's not. Community just says it's best at 2 players. So
there you go.
We'll see.
This Eric Lang game, Life in Reterra, is one that it kind of passed me by. I wasn't like super interested in it, but I think a lot of people are, and I think some people have been really enjoying the game. They did just announce a Moonrise expansion for that. So if you've been playing and liking Life in Reterra, that's kind of fun. Another expansion for it. And I don't know, for me personally, anything that Eric Lang does, I think is at least worthy of note.
For sure.
Even if you don't get a chance to play it. So
yeah, I just went to put Altair in my cart. Guess what's already in my cart?
Altair.
Nice.
Love that. Good job, Nathan.
Good job. Almost bought it twice.
On such a frenzy, you're buying stuff twice.
Yep.
Does it have a recharge kit?
Just have recharge.
Yeah, it's called a second copy.
Yeah, my foot's about to be a recharge kit. Anori, this is a great little game that is actually available on BGA right now, so you can go give it a try. I've played a few games with Richie, trying to gather resources of 6 or 7 different types and try to gain majority of them and try to place your tokens onto cards that are going to allow you to score those majorities and try to not score other people's majorities. It's a very quick game. I am very excited about this one. I think I've played it 4 times on BGA already, but that's a Nori 30-minute game. Pretty simple to learn, and I feel, anyways, it has quite a bit of replayability with some options on which cards come out to dictate what things you're vying for.
Actually, that description makes it sound a lot like Spellbook, which was another one that Richie really liked. He taught that one at MonCon this year. It seems like it's got a lot of the same, like you're trying to gather resources to charge up cards kind of thing, which is what Spellbook was. I didn't care for Spellbook quite as much, but this one actually looks pretty good.
One that is on my radar for sure. Not in my shopping cart yet, though.
Awesome. Well, we are running a little long on time.
Yes, we are.
But we do need to cover a couple things on crowdfunding, because I was just curious if Andy... This is where I turned my attention from making Nathan buy stuff to making you buy stuff.
Wow.
I was just wondering if you had seen...
There's a common theme here.
Yeah, I was wondering if you'd seen Bard Song, Tale of the Forsaken Glade.
Yes, I saw Bard Song, Doug. Yes.
Oh, I was just checking.
Yes, and it is backed.
I mean, you never made claims that you don't back Kickstarter.
That's
so
true.
It's fair game for you.
I am starting to step back a little bit.
Nice.
Because I see, oh, hey, this hit your bank account. I'm like, what did I spend? I didn't spend that. Oh, yeah, I did back that.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Crap, I did back that. I did back Bard Sung, Tale of the Forsaken Glade. Hopefully will be an excuse to really dive into Bard Sung again, because I really enjoyed it. I just need to play it with someone who doesn't want to write on my board.
Yeah,
You bring
Nathan,
that up.
honestly, come on.
But we ran into the same issue with
We did.
Legends of Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah, when you're relying on artwork and it is ambiguous as to what is what, and yeah, it's tough. It really is.
If you're gonna rely on your artwork solely, I'm sorry, because it kind of sucks, but you sort of have to do artwork for dummies.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really do. Or just put a line in. It's okay.
Yeah,
It is okay.
It's really okay to put a little dash line in there. We're really used to it as board gamers.
Yeah,
it's really
especially those of us
okay.
who play dungeon crawlers all the time. That's the norm. It doesn't ruin the experience for us at all. It actually makes it better. So you're not trying to second guess, okay, what can I come through here? And you're not focusing so much on artwork where you have no idea what is going on. So yeah, that is my beef with Bard Sung, but I still don't want to use Sharpie on it.
I get that. If we play it, we'll just need to make sure Nathan has his Sharpies locked up.
Yep. Or we play it at my house and I'll lock the Sharpies up and pat everybody down before they come in.
Pat everybody down. There you go.
No Sharpies allowed.
It's a Sharpie-free zone.
Also, Awaken Realms is getting close to launching I think it's going to be kind of their last big campaign for the year, but this is the Lands of Evershade. And this one looks fantastic. Like it looks amazing. This is one I don't know if I'm going to back though. This is I think it's their stab at sort of an RPG, but a little bit more of a guided RPG. I've got my eye on it because I am really curious about it. Hopefully they'll have a lot more information when that Kickstarter actually goes, GameFound, I guess, is technically, but when the crowdfunding goes live for that, hopefully they'll have a lot more about it. It's something that I might be really interested in. I'm just not sure yet. So, and also speaking of RPGs, and this is something okay, I won't have a big gripe session, but this is another one of those fads that I am getting sick and tired of. And that is a lot of these properties feeling like they need to make an RPG version of their game, which is what they're doing with Thunder Road Vendetta.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it going to be kind of like Car Wars, or is it?
I don't know, but it's a Thunder Road Vendetta RPG, which will be launching on Kickstarter soon.
Huh. Interesting.
So, I mean, I love Dungeons and Dragons. I like RPGs. We've had a lot of fun playing Star Wars and Pathfinder and some of those, but there are so many of these games coming out with RPG systems, and it's like there is just not time to play all of those.
Still really want to get G.I. Joe to the table?
Yeah. Oh, our shelf of shame when it comes to RPGs we'd like to play is we don't talk about it because it's painful.
It is painful.
But that list is growing long.
Yeah, I would just wish that RPGs weren't so much work for one person to actually get into it. That's
100%.
That's really the downside to it. We're trying to play a ton of games, so we have a lot of stuff to talk about. And those of us who try to get an adventure set up, that's tough because it
Yeah.
is so time consuming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
And if you are going to develop an RPG system, make sure that there's an entry level product. Arkham Horror, the Arkham Files, whatever, like that just came out. I did pick up a copy of that, but that's because that we could run that in a session or two. Do you know what I mean? And it is a lot more work for one person, but we could play and definitely get our money's worth out of that experience for what was in like $20 box or something.
Yeah.
And have a really nice 1 or 2 shot story. I think have a lot of fun with it. Kind of just call it good. If it's your jam, I understand why people would want a lot more information and a full player guide and a full, dungeon book or a, monster book and all that kind of stuff like Dungeons and Dragons does. But you need to have an introductory, like entry level product for people to just taste it, do a little one-off, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think
'Cause-
that's true. And it seems like it's so flooded with so many RPGs, and RPGs are some of my favorite games to play. I love them.
Yeah.
But we never get a chance to play them just because they're not very accessible.
Yep.
I mean, there's a lot of
Yeah.
rules. You have to have someone that is fairly
in them.
fluent, very intimately aware of all the rules and how everything plays, or at least can BS their way through it, like they know what they're talking about. There's a lot of books and everything else, so there's a lot of capital that has to go into those as well. Even if you buy a book that's an adventure book, that's still a lot of reading and prep work
100%.
that goes into
Yeah.
it. If you're writing that adventure yourself, that's exponentially greater on how much work that is.
Yeah.
So much work, but hopefully the reward is there, right? And that's
Right.
why we continue to play a lot of these.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes the work does outweigh the reward. And, not necessarily outweigh the reward, but what is vying for the game table bullies out some of those RPGs.
True.
So. All right, well, we have rambled on excessively. So let's go ahead and bring this to the chopping block and call it did.
What?
Stick a fork in it.
Stick a fork in it,
I
yeah.
think we're done.
I'm just starting to have fun, guys. But okay. I mean, if you want to end, that's fine.
Well, I still have a ton of stuff we could talk about, but
No, I think we've talked about a lot of awesome games, a lot of new stuff coming out that's exciting, and some cool crowdfunding stuff that have backed some of them, and am excited for. But yeah, hopefully all of you are excited too for some of the new stuff coming out. We had fun talking about it. Until next time.
we'll see you at the game table. Nice job.
Thank you for listening and being a part of Meeple Nation. If you would be so kind as to follow, subscribe, share, and rate or review this podcast, it really helps to spread the fun. You can be more involved in supporting the podcast by joining the nation at patreon.com/MeepleNation, or you can find a link at the top of our webpage, meeplenation.com. And while you're there, look at all our extra content. There are links to all our past episodes, a wide variety of blogs, pictures from our Instagram feed, and bios for all the hosts and our awesome bloggers. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, all under Meeple Nation. If you would like to chat with the hosts or other members of the nation, you can join our Facebook group, Meeple Nation Off Air. We hope to see you again at a game night, a con, or maybe a suspense-driven evening of Werewolf. Thank you for listening and supporting Meeple Nation, and stay tuned for next week's episode.
Thank you so much for listening. We very much want to thank our patrons who help keep the podcast running. I personally want to thank my co-hosts for all the help they provide with both content here on the podcast, in addition to what we have available on our website. Without them, the podcast would not happen. If you too would like to support the podcast, you can join the nation at patreon.com/Meeple_nation. Or you can find a link to Patreon at the top of our webpage, meeplenation.com. If you have any questions, comments, or games you feel should be on our radar, you can always reach us at meeplenation@gmail.com. We can't wait to hear from you. I am grateful to Doug and Andy who helped me edit episodes, and I want to thank James and Kim Clark who do the editing on our blogs and on our webpage, which can be found at meeplenation.com. We want to thank Brain Detergent for our music. If you want to find more from him, you can follow his links that can be found on our webpage, or simply search for Brain Detergent on YouTube to find more of his tracks. Thank you again for listening and being part of the Meeple Nation community.